Right. So we concluded attorney review, and you're wondering what happens next. So when attorney review concludes, the attorney review letters and the contract will now have solid terms, and a lot of those terms will have deadlines and due dates for particular things to happen in the real estate transaction. So at our firm, what we do is we use a software, and that software is called Track with Ease. And it is a portal where all of the people who are in the transaction, like the seller's attorney, the realtors, buyers, sellers, lenders, title companies, all of the people from those categories are added to the portal. And the due dates and the requirements of the contract get placed in a format that are basically like a timeline of events in the portal. And once that portal is uploaded with all of the dates that are inputted from the contract and the attorney review letters, a email gets sent to everybody letting them know, like, this is the due date of the deposit. This is the due date of the home inspection. This is the due date of the title binder. And some of those things don't have exact dates, but they have targets. And so what you can expect, at least when you work with our office, is that you'll get a email with that whole list of milestones, basically paving the way forward for the rest of the transaction. Other law offices, they send an email, they send a letter, they may not use software. We find that the software is really helpful because it allows us to keep everybody up to date all the time so that you don't have to worry about calling us to ask us where things are at, because you can just log in and you can actually see real time when things are happening, which is really cool. So once attorney review ends, that's essentially what the law office will be doing, is taking the due dates and mapping them out so that now we have basically like a user manual for your contract, and a deadline of when things are due. So that's what you can expect as soon as attorney review ends. What we won't talk about in the next video is the deposit. So I'll talk about that here. Is typically the one of the first things in the timeline of events that happens after attorney review ends is the buyer has to submit their deposit. So they will have to submit their deposit in escrow, and their deposit will be held in an escrow account all the way until closing. And so you, as the seller, you don't actually see that money until you get to the closing table. So that deposit will have to be made, and the buyers will likely start scheduling all of their inspections. So the two things that happen right after attorney review, or three, is one, the timeline of events get listed out. Number two, the instructions for the deposit get sent to the buyer, and the buyer has to submit their deposit when it's due, which is also laid out in the attorney review letter. And then the buyer also has to schedule all of their inspections. So inspections are one of the biggest things that happen for buyers and sellers during the transaction. So the next video will be all about the inspection contingency and generally how it works. And I look forward to seeing you there.